Hello and welcome, Pokemon fans. There are those who call me Bardbreaker, and it's time for another Sunday solo Pokemon Challenge run. Last weekend, we showed off how, with some careful training and planning, we could actually make it through the entirety of Gen 1 games by way of only inflicting critical hits. It was a team of fully evolved Pokemon though, so it really wasn't much of a challenge per se, as it was really just showing off the mechanic and how we could legitimately use the coding of those games to our advantage. That being said, let's try a much harder one this week. Today we ask and answer the question, can I beat Pokemon Emerald using a team of only a single CACNEA? CACNEA is a Stage 1 pure grass type with overall fairly low stats. Its 335 base total puts it on par with Tentacool, so not really super great. We do have pretty good attack and special attack though, so that is a plus. Though almost all of our moves will be special in Gen 3, so we'll have to try and EV train that stat up a bit more than the others if we can. Our biggest major obstacle is our moveset, or lack thereof. We don't really learn a lot of anything useful. Needle Arm, Feint Attack, and Absorb are about it. We will at least start with Poison Sting and Absorb, so Roxanne really shouldn't be that hard. We don't get a lot of help with TMs either though. Double Team and Secret Power are about it here. We don't really have any type coverage to speak of. This is probably going to be a rough one. Anyway, at this point I'd like to remind you all that I write the script as we go, so at this point I actually haven't started playing the game yet, and I have no idea how we're going to play out. I'm confident we can eventually beat the Elite Four. I'm pretty much absolutely certain we can't beat Steven though. His Skarmory is either going to Toxic us or use Aerial Ace, which will be super effective and can't miss, so I seriously doubt we'll ever be able to even get past it. Much less the rest of his team. But we'll at least attempt it if we can get there. We still have to deal with Flannery, Winona, and Glacia, all of whom will represent major roadblocks for us. That being said, make your guesses down below to please the almighty Algorist, god of the YouTube algorithm, and let me know if you think I can do it or not. Finally, onto our rules. As usual, I'll only be allowed to use CACNEA in combat. I will need other Pokemon for HMs, but they'll be left fainted whenever possible to avoid tainting the run. Also, as usual, I won't be using any items in battle. Held items, though, and items outside of battle will be allowed and almost certainly a necessity. Finally, though, I won't be using any cheats, glitches, or exploits. So let's do it. After breaking our way out of the Neglectorama, we find Professor Tree being attacked by a small creature. We steal our cactus from the satchel and throw it at the Zigzagoon and win the fight. I used the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Trico with Torchic to get our CACNEA. It's a pretty simple swap, grass for grass. This way May is going to take the Torchic and will have the best type matchup against us. We nickname ours Spiky Boy because it's what my boyfriend wanted to call it. Ours is Bashful Nature, so no stat gains or losses. Okay, whatever. Our ability is Sand Veil, and that ups our evasion in Sandstorm. We do learn Sandstorm later, but not until level 45, and I doubt we'll actually use it, so this is essentially a useless ability for us. Looking at our starting stats, here we go. I admittedly don't know as much as I probably should in this regard, and I especially don't know a lot about IVs, but I plugged all of this into an IV calculator, and it says we rolled a 30 to 31 for special attack, which means we basically have the highest IVs we could get for special attack. That was lucky, and that's going to be very helpful considering all of our moves are special. Along the way down the road a bit, we find May staring lazily at the grass, and we decide to fight her. I initially wanted to try and poison her Firebird, but it doesn't happen, and I swap to Absorb as we start taking some damage. We actually land 2 critical hits in a row, which is just a 0.4% chance of happening, and we take her down pretty quick. That was lucky. I'm sure our luck's not going to last, though. After we get our Pokedex from Professor Tree and our shoes from our neglectful wench of a mother, we spend some time catching 5 Zigzagoons. We can't use them in combat, but their pickup ability is going to come in handy to get me some items and money as we go. I'd like for the chance at getting rare candy, but I don't want to waste time training them all up to level 21 to be able to do it. I do stop to catch a Lotad for Flash later, though, nicknaming it Flashelius the 11th, long may he shine, and proceed. We make our way into Rustboro and immediately challenge Roxanne. We've got the type advantage here, and we're strangely high level considering we didn't really train any more than the few trainers along the way. We're in the medium-fast experience group, and I guess they must slow down later though. Needless to say, we don't have a problem dealing with the Geodudes. Her Nosepass though is just rock and not ground, so it's only super weak instead of super weak to us. And Roxanne actually puts up a bit of a fight here. Between a Nosepass berry and 2 potions, she drags us out for some time. We eventually get past her though, as we expected. After retrieving the Devon goods and the old man's bird, we get a letter and it's time for package delivery simulator yet again. Before we go though, we catch a Tailo for Fly, nicknaming it Flapsity the 11th, long may he fly, and an Incada for Cut, nicknaming it Snipticus the 11th, long may he cut, and finally proceed on. On the way out of Rustboro, we stop for the optional May battle and promptly lose to her Torchic. Ouch. Well, that hurt. We grind a bit and we try again at level 20, and it still takes 4 attempts, mostly due to bad crit luck from the Embers. I have to set up 6 gross on the Lotad though, so I'll be high enough to take out the Torchic in 2 hits. Ember does a lot of damage to us, which is a bad omen, but we finally do enough damage to get past her and on with the show. Mr. Barney takes us to Duffer Town and we decide to challenge Brawley. His team likes to spam bulk up to do extra damage, so we set up a couple of gross on the Machop. It sets up 2 bulk ups and hits hard with Karate Chop, but fortunately doesn't get the enhanced crit roll that comes with, and we survive to knock it out with 2 absorbs. After that, we don't get hit as Metatite and Makuhita just want to use bulk up instead of attacking, so we get an easy second badge. Though we did have to make 2 attempts here due to bulk up really powering up the Makuhita on the first one. After we deliver the letter, we get to Slateport, and after delivering the Devon goods, it's time to fight this small girl under the bridge. We get lucky with a couple of her Wingulls, Supersonics missing, and we set up a couple of growths. It switches to Wing Attack, and now's the time we have to switch to go for Absorb. Her Combuskin is next, and we don't have what we need to beat it. Its Ember still hits hard. That's a sad statement if I've ever heard one. And we go down. At level 32, we're finally fast enough to outspeed the Wingull. We get off a growth and survive her Wing Attack. We go for another growth, and fortunately her Supersonic misses. With that, we then land and absorb for the knockout. Next out is the dangerous Combuskin, and we go for a Feint Attack as the double growths really help as we nearly bring it to red, but all it does is use Focus Energy. We go for another double growth Feint Attack, which is special in this gen for nearly all of its health as it goes for Focus Energy for the knockout. Last out is her Lombre, but one Feint Attack takes it out. We make it into Mauville City and decide to take on Wattson. His Voltorb is first, and so we take the chance to set up a couple of growths and eventually take it down on our third turn with an Absorb. We do get paralyzed though, dropping our already atrociously slow speed. His Electrike is next and goes for a Howl, but it goes down in 2 hits. His Magneton is next, and though usually pretty scary, this one just uses Sonic Boom a couple times before going down to Absorbs. Last out is Manectric, who I probably could have used Feint Attack on for an easier time, but I didn't for some reason. I just kept absorbing as Wattson kept potioning. Eventually he runs out of potions and we land our final absorb for the knockout. After that it's time to take on Maxie. Mighty Hyena's Intimidate isn't a problem since we're using special moves and we hit it with a Pin Missile. It decided to sand attack us though and we start missing an already somewhat inaccurate move before taking it down. Fortunately our Feint Attack can't miss and so Camerupt gets off an Ember but goes down in 2 Feint Attacks. Last out is the very Tess's favorite Zubat, but one Feint Attack takes it out. Now that that's out of the way, it's time for Flannery, the Fire Gym Leader. And this is one of the ones I've been dreading. Second attempt at Flannery, and this time we set up 3 growths against her Numel. It goes for a Sunny Day and 2 takedowns, the second of which misses, allowing us to take it down. Camerupt is next, and we one-shot it with our triple growth boosted Feint Attack. That was lucky because we certainly wouldn't have survived a Sunny Day assisted overheat. Slugma is once again a one-shot, and last out is Torkoal. To my surprise, we one-shot it with Feint Attack. I knew we'd do more damage, but I didn't expect it to do that much more. With that, we've beaten Flannery, and she was one of the first obstacles I was worried we'd hit. Now it's time for some Patricide, and it's time to beat up our dad. I decide to set up 2 growths on his Spinda. We do get confused off a Teeter Dance, and it does land Facade, but we immediately snap out of our confusion for a third attack, and land a one-shot with our Needle Arm. Vigoroth is next, and gets off a Facade, and then goes down to a crit Needle Arm. Though I'm pretty sure the crit wouldn't have been needed. Lanoon is next, and it belly drums, but that lets us knock it out with a Needle Arm. Last out is his beastly pseudo-legendary Slacking, which we were able to surprisingly one-shot with a Needle Arm. I was kind of worried about the Slacking because of its beastly stats, but hey, we did it folks, that's another gym in the books, but I'm worried about what we have coming. Before any of that though, we have to clear out the Weather Institute and it's time for another battle with May. Her Pelipper is first and it knows Protect, which is great because we could set up a couple of growths as it uses Protect. We then swap to Feint Attack on our third move for the knockout. Next up is Combuskin, which survives a Feint Attack. A third growth would have probably been enough to one-shot it here, but it just uses Sand Attack, which really won't affect our Feint Attack at all, so we get an easy knockout. Last out is Lombre, which gets in a flinching blow, but barely does any damage and we take it out pretty easily. We get into Four Tree City and it's time for Winona in the Flying Gym. Her Swablu is first and we set up a growth and it goes for a Mirror move which fails. If anyone could tell me why so I don't have to look it up, that'd be great. We go for another growth, but the AI has figured out it needs to attack and it lands Aerial Ace. We can't waste any more time as it hits hard, so we go for Feint Attack for an easy one-shot knockout. Pelipper is next, and it usually goes for an opening Protect, so we sneak another growth in there and we're able to take it down with our boosted Feint Attack on the next move. Next out is Tropius, but goes down just as quick as it came. Next out is a Skarmory, which survives a Feint Attack to land Aerial Ace. Another Feint Attack brings it down. We're not looking great though, and out comes her Altaria. It knows Earthquake, but also Aerial Ace, but we do outspeed it to land a crit one-shot Feint Attack to end it. On our first attempt, we make it past the Flying Gym. That was awesome. We make our way to Lily Cove City, and it's time for the last battle with May outside the department store. It's an optional one, but I want the experience. Tropius is first, and despite being Flying type, it doesn't actually know any flying moves. We set up 3 growths, and we get hit with 2 stomps and a Sweet Scent, but we're hanging in there with decent health. Pelipper is next, and it goes for Protect, so we get our 4th growth in. Could have gotten a 5th in as it used Protect a second time, but I figured 4 was enough and went with the Feint Attack. Even with the type disadvantage, we still one-shot it. Her Ludicolo is last, and a single Feint Attack tanks it out. So after having to look up where to go again, we find our way to Mount Chimney, and it's time for a battle against who I can only assume must be colorblind. We have to take several runs at this, but we finally beat him. Mightyena is first, and we get off a growth as it goes for Swagger. We eat a Pearson Berry to heal it and go for Pin Missile, and it takes him out thanks to a crit. His Crobat is next, and it lands a big air cutter as we land Feint Attack. Fortunately, it brings him to Super Potion range, and then Maxie just uses several Super Potions on it as we chip it down a little more each time. Finally, after some back and forth, we take it down. Camerupt is next, and we go for a Needle Arm. It's actually neutral damage thanks to the ground dual typing, and because of our stab, it actually does more than Feint Attack. We're able to take it down with one hit, and that's Maxie in the books. Now I think it's time for more Aqua shenanigans if I'm remembering the story properly. Indeed I am, and we clear out the Aqua Hideout, and now it's time for a Psychic Gym with Tate and Liza. It's a mandatory double battle, and honestly the best thing we can do here is catch a Magikarp. All it knows is Splash, so it won't directly impact the battle. The only thing it will do is draw one of their opening attacks away from our CACNEA, but you kinda have to do it, otherwise your runs literally end here. Xatu and Claydol are first, and they're the two new additions to their Emerald roster instead of Ruby and Sapphire. Xatu outspeeds and goes first, but hits Magikarp with a Psychic to take it out. We decide Xatu is the bigger threat of the two, and so we hit it back with a Feint Attack. And surprisingly, we one-shot it. I was not expecting it to go down that easily. Solrock comes in off the bench as a replacement, and Claydol lands a weak Earthquake. We decide Solrock, since it has Flamethrower, is the priority target, so we go after it with a Needle Arm and take it out with a single one-shot. Lunatone comes in as its replacement as Claydol gets off another weak Earthquake. We one-shot the Lunatone with Needle Arm, and then one more takes out the Claydol. That went amazingly well. I definitely didn't think we'd be one-shotting our way through Tate and Liza. That was fantastic. We didn't even use a single growth there, guys. We just used our base attacks. Needle Arm with a Miracle Seed for an extra 10% boost was all we had. That was awesome. That makes me feel so much better after how terrible these two were for our Barboach run. God, how low was our special in that run? I'm gonna have to go back and check. That run took hours to beat them. This time it was easy. In any event, it's time to move on. After Tate and Liza, it's time for another mandatory double battle, this time with Steven at our side against the Magma admins in the Space Center. This takes 4 or 5 attempts. Mostly it's due to terrible confusion luck, as everything wants to confuse Ray or Swagger. Also, Steven's Metang doesn't like to cooperate and usually not do anything useful. We finally get a run where things go our way, and not only does Metang attack, but it uses Psychic on stuff like Golbat and Camerupt. It's really a surprise that this battle actually took several more attempts and much longer than the gym battle right before it. In any event, we Needle Arm and Feint Attack our way through eventually, and we can finally proceed with another round of Aqua shenanigans. Like the other Team Aqua and Magma fights, this one actually takes a few attempts to get right as well. We finally get past him by virtue of a growth against the Mightyena. It swaggers, but we end it with a Needle Arm. Crobat takes a couple of Feint Attacks, but fortunately Maxie tries to heal it with a Super Potion, and that lets us get our hits in. Last out is a Sharpedo, which we hit with Pin Missile, but survives. We go for a Needle Arm and survive the Rough Skin though to end the fight. That was actually kind of annoying. Now though, we can progress towards the Rayquaza element that we have no plans to catch and the rest of our journey. We make it to Sootopolis City, and Juan the Water Gym Leader actually takes a few attempts despite the type advantage. In this run, we start off against Luvdisc and take it out with a single Needle Arm after taking negligible damage from its Water Pulse. Celio is next, and it also goes down with a Needle Arm. Next out is the aforementioned annoying Kingdra, and it seems to always go for double team, so we set up a growth. It goes for a second one, but we go for Feint Attack, which bypasses double team's evasion buffs. We hit it hard, and it decides to use Rest. It's got a Chesto Berry though to wake right up though, so we hit it again with Feint Attack. Taking it down low promotes another rest, but this time he can't bury his way out of it, and he stays asleep for us to knock him out. Next out is Whiscash, but it's 4 times weak to grass, so a single Needle Arm takes it down. Corphish is last, and a single Needle Arm finishes that fight too. Now that we've got all 8 gym badges in the books, it's time for Victory Road and the Elite Four. Once in Victory Road, we have to have another fight against Wally at level 69. Nice. We set up a growth on Altaria as it goes for Safeguard. We could have used another as it went for Dragon Dance, but we go for Feint Attack. It does hit with a big Aerial Ace though, and we finish it with another Feint Attack. Next out is Roselia, which goes down to a single Feint Attack. Delcatty is next and goes down to a Needle Arm. Magneton is next, and it goes down in 2 Feint Attacks and lands a passable Thunderbolt. Last out is Gardevoir, but a single super effective Feint Attack easily ends it. The rest of Victory Road is uneventful. We make it to the Pokemon League, and it's time to see if we have what it takes. Here's our stats at level 71. I admittedly don't know as much as I should know about stats, but I do know that bigger is better, and our special attack is pretty awesome looking. Make your guesses though if we got this. Let's do it. Dark Trainer Sidney time. His Mightyena is first, and we get a growth in as it goes for Double Edge. We Needle Arm it for the knockout. His Absol is next, but a crit Needle Arm takes it out. Shiftry is next, and it goes for Double Team, but our Pin Missile lands for 4 hits, and we get the knockout. Our Evolved form Cacturn is next, and it survives a Pin Missile to land Cotton Spore. Sidney uses a full restore, but we take it out with another Pin Missile crit. Last out is Crawdaunt, but a single Needle Arm does the job here. Ghost-type Phoebe is next, and her Dusclop that's first likes to use Protect, so we get a couple of growths in. We do get hit with a Shadow Punch for our second, but from there with 2 growths, the rest of her team is quite literally a one-shot sweep with Feint Attack. Super easy. Now it's on to Glacia the Ice Trainer, and here's another one that I have been dreading since we're weak to ice. Predictably, it takes numerous attempts, but we eventually got a decent run. We start out against her Celio and we set up 3 double teams. I decided to drop Pin Missile for double team because it's not going to be very useful moving forward and we are going to need double team. We get hit with a couple ice balls and are looking pretty bad as we take it out because we're losing HP in a hailstorm. Her next Celio is out and we go for a growth as its Blizzard misses. With a growth in play, we go for Needle Arm for the win. Wall Rain is next, and it usually goes for Ice Beam if we're high health, but down in the red it goes for Surf, which misses thanks to Double Team. We take it down with a crit Needle Arm. Glalie is next, and it misses its Crunch as we take it out with Needle Arm. Last out is another Glalie, and it misses Shadow Ball as Needle Arm brings it low. She uses a full restore though, and we hit it again. She uses another full restore, and we hit it again. Another Shadow Ball misses, and we land a Needle Arm to finish the fight. That took easily over a dozen attempts. That Wall Rain and its Ice Beam were brutal. Now that we've beaten Phoebe, it's on to Shirtless Dragon Master Drake, and he's another one who takes some work, mostly due to Flygon knowing Flamethrower. Shelgon is first, and it really doesn't do much with Protect half the time, so we use the chance to set up all 6 growths and all 6 double teams without taking any damage, and we end it with Feint Attack. Flygon is next, and it misses its Flamethrower and goes down to Feint Attack. Altaria is next and hits Aerial Ace because it bypasses evasion just like Feint Attack, and we take it down with our own Feint Attack. Salamence is next, and we bring it down with a Feint Attack. Kingdra's last and goes down to a Needle Arm. Not as brutal as Glacia, but still annoying. Fortunately for us, Shelgon mostly just uses Protect, and when it does attack, it's with already inaccurate moves like Rock Tomb. With him out of the way, now we can move on to the champion. And okay, you'd probably think the Water Champion would be easy. You would be wrong. He's got Blizzards, and Toxics, and Ice Beams, and Sludge Bombs. Oh my. All kinds of crap that just wrecks the shit out of our day. This fight with Wallace takes 52 tries. You didn't mishear me say that. I had to reset 51 times to get this winning run. And this is where JRose11 and I differ. I'm all for resetting over and over again until I get the run we need. He likes to do the Elite Four as an entire straight run without saving anywhere in between. I kinda go along with Madrybread's mindset that if I know this is going to work 1 in 100 times, then I'll just reset till I get that one time. This time it took 51 resets for a total of 52 attempts at Wallace to bring him down. My god, what a nightmare. Again, you wouldn't think a water trainer would be a problem for a grass Pokemon, but those ice moves hurt like hell. But here we go, we finally got the winning run, take a look. Wailord comes out first and we start setting up our double teams. It misses Blizzard and we go for another double team. It misses another Blizzard as we go for another double team. His Body Slam misses and we set up our 4th double team. Wailord uses a Rain Dance and now we start in with our growths. Blizzard misses again and we go for a 2nd growth. Another Blizzard misses and we go for a 3rd growth. Water Spout misses from Wailord and we set up a 4th growth. Water Spout finally hits hard because it's based on its health, and we fight back at last with a Needle Arm to end it. Milotic is next, and it misses its Ice Beam as we land a Needle Arm for the knockout. Tentacruel is next, and this is honestly what we needed the growths for. It misses Sludge Bomb as we go for Needle Arm for a knockout. Next out is a Ludicolo, and it goes for its own Double Team Cheese as we miss our Needle Arm. It uses Double Team again, but our Needle Arm lands for the knockout. Next out is Whiscash, and it's quad weak to grass, so even a non-boosted Needle Arm would have worked here, and we one-shot it easily. Last out is Gyarados, and it intimidates us, but Needle Arm is special, so that doesn't matter. It misses its Hyper Beam, and we land Needle Arm for a one-shot knockout, and finally, after quite literally 51 resets, we beat Wallace on our 52nd attempt. But that's it, we've done it. We've beaten Emerald with just a CACNEA. That got brutal at the end there, and I didn't even think he'd be that hard. We get CACNEA into the Hall of Fame, but you know Emerald's not done. We still have the final hidden battle with Steven. And I don't think we've got even a shot thanks to his Skarmory, but we'll at least try it. Make your guesses if you think we can beat Steven. Up first is Skarmory, and so we go for Feint Attack, and oh no. Oh, that's not good at all. So I didn't expect to one-shot it, but that's terrible. Wow. Skarmory is basically tailor-made to stop this run. It's a steel flying dual type, so it will be double resistant to our grass, meaning our best move Needle Arm is only 1/4 as effective as normal. Feint Attack isn't going to be much better because for some reason that I can't fathom, in Gens 2 through 5, Steel also resists Dark. It's a single resistance, so Feint Attack is only going to be cut in half, but when you figure in the stab bonus that Needle Arm has, they're pretty close to each other. All that aside, Skarmory can Toxic us, which is not good, but above all else, it knows damned Aerial Ace. A super effective flying move that cannot miss. We're not beating him here, and we're not beating him now. We'll go grind and we'll try at level 100, but I do not have high hopes. After grinding for an hour and a half and hunting down all the rare candies that I skipped over, yeah, we try again at level 100, and yeah, look at that. Even with a crit at level 100, we're not bringing him to even yellow health. We actually get another crit in a row to bring him to red, but Steven uses a full restore. We can only survive one of his aerial aces though, so we can't hang in the fight very long. There's really nothing we can do here. This run is over. None of our limited moveset can help here. The only thing that could potentially work is Thunder Punch, but that's a move tutor move, and you only get that from the Battle Frontier. And to get battle points, you have to have 3 Pokemon to enter, and they all have to be different. We could maybe enter with 2 Pokemon like Magikarp that only know Splash. I'm guessing I've never actually done the Battle Frontier, so I'm not sure of any other requirements. But only a few Pokemon know Splash and only Splash. I tried catching Spoink and even breeding them, but they don't have Splash like they're supposed to. So no, that's not going to work either. Certainly not in the time frame I have. I don't even know if Thunder Punch would work well enough to deal with the Skarmory. Even if we did get past it, I just don't have the time or desire to sink that much effort into something that could potentially help. And yes, I did check on my hidden power. It is a ghost type hidden power, which Steel resists for some reason. So that wouldn't be helpful here either. So anyway guys, that's the run. Hope you enjoyed it. We were able to beat the Elite Four. Unfortunately, we just couldn't touch Steven. I knew going into this we weren't going to be able to, but I gave it a try. I don't know what the next challenge run is going to be. This coming week after this video airs, I'm going to be getting parts in to upgrade a new computer. So I'm hoping that we won't have any disruptions in content, but if I don't get a video up this week, that's why. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, and I will be posting updates there if anything happens. Until then guys, thanks for watching, like, comment, subscribe, and go catch 'em all.